Kiki Brown here. I'm doing one of my favorite things, sitting in front of some really old, big trees. I just want to deliver a message. Sometimes people think that they're doing the best thing when their behavior is really unrighteous. And so because they exhibit unrighteous behavior, they assume the worst in others. But someone who's come a long way, who has done the healing work, who has meditated, who has written it down, who has cried it out, who has exercised it out, who has rewritten their story, who has meditated and manifested and done their best to become their best, is not easily swayed, is not easily triggered. Although along this healing journey, we're always triggered by somebody. As we continue on, we learn how to handle those triggers better because we see the person for who they are, an unhealed person, a hurting person who wants to hurt other people. And so the best thing to do is to send them love, right? Wish them well. They may never change. They may leave here just as they are. But a lot of times the biggest lesson is learning to walk away sooner. And if it's a situation where you can't necessarily walk away from the person, you can create a great distance or a great space. You can occupy yourself with the things that you want to focus on and that you want to be in your life, or the type of people that you want to be in your life. Those like-minded people that have integrity, that have respect, and that are always in the mind frame to do the right thing. If that's the type of person that you are, you want those type of people in your life. And you can kind of sniff out the ones who are smiling in your face, but really being deceptive behind your back, right? And they don't think that you can. They don't think that you know. They don't think that you realize. They sometimes will think that you're naive and gullible and that you're just falling for the fluff that they're trying to feed you. But again, when you've done the healing work, you've been around those types of people, so you can see the writing on the walls, right? Continue on your journey. And I know it's not easy. We sometimes lose people, places, and things. That includes loved ones, material possessions, because really the material things are not what we should be focused on. Sure, they are great. They're a symbol of our success. But in the grand scheme of life, they have no true meaning. Truly, we should be here building communities. Truly, we should be here helping one another to be successful, whatever that means, even if that just means to successfully heal from childhood trauma, from past hurts and wounds in relationships, from divorces, from, ended relationships with so-called best friends or just friends in general, co-workers who have dishonored us and disrespected us and, said dishonest things to the bosses to try to get you in trouble, to try to get you in a different position, to change your livelihood. Bosses themselves who, again, just have decided because you're too good for them, you have too much integrity, you have too much respect, and they don't like you. You smile too much, you laugh too much, you have too much joy in your heart, or you're too quiet, or whatever it is, whatever reason, you won't sleep with them, right? sometimes they will dishonor you as well. And if you understand the 12 laws of the universe, you know that one of those laws is the law of cause and effect. So it is not for us to seek revenge. It is not for us to be angry at these people. It is us to take a step back and say, that person is hurting. And not even necessarily to feel sorry for them, but it is unfortunate that they feel they have to operate this way in order to feel important about themselves, in order to have confidence, in order to get their way. You know, again, whether it's a relative who's abusing their power or a boss who's abusing their power. People in certain positions will abuse their power because they feel that's the only way to get what they want, because they don't know how to communicate effectively. They get frustrated when you ask them a question. And people, you know, dodge questions. They you know, don't directly answer the question. And because so many people around us do that, sometimes we may find ourselves indirectly answering a question and not listening to the actual question, but answering a question in a way that makes sense to us. Because again, a lot of times it's a trigger, right? And so we think that maybe they're accusing of us of something. And so we may immediately go into defense mode. And so you have to acknowledge that we're reflections of one another. So whatever you think is going on in their mind, again, they may be in defense mode. So as soon as you ask them a question, because they don't know how to answer the question, or they don't want to answer the question, they deflect and they dance around the question. Or again, they get into defense mode, they're triggered, and they answer it in a way that makes them feel safe. And so it's not always about us, right? It's not always about doing wrong by people. Again, some people just don't know how. And so what we're here to do is lead by example and show them how. And they may come kicking and screaming, or they may not come at all. Those who want to come, you just leave the door open and allow them to ask you the questions that they need to ask in order to start their journey, in order to start that process for themselves. And those who do not want to, you allow them to stay where they are. And you love them from afar, and you send them love, even if they are sending you hate. And that is my advice to you today. As always, I love y'all, and I want the best for everyone. Lots of love, hugs, and kisses. Love and light. Mwah.